Okay, so we understood about the demonstration of S3. Now the next topic that we are going to understand is shared file system, right? So what is shared file system? What are the services that are being provided by AWS for shared file system, that is EFS and FSX. So these are the things that we are going to discuss in this particular topic, right? So what are shared file systems? So what if I want to use multiple instances to use the same underlying storage? Okay, let's suppose that I have EC2 instances. I have multiple EC2 instances into different availability zones. Okay, and I want these instances to have one shared file system, right? So what to do for that? Like if I want to have such kind of structure, then at that time, EFS would come into the picture. Why? Because EBS volume that we have already discussed is usually attached to one EC2 instance, right? One EC2 instance will be attached with one EBS volume, and into this EBS volume we can persist our data for EC2. S3 can be one option because S3 is available, it can be publicly available as well. So we can just give out the permission to the EC2 instance to access S3 by attaching the instance profile to this. But the problem is, what if we require high performance and read-write capacity similar to that of network file system? So S3 may not be best option over here because it is first of all the object storage. It will not give the highest performance just like we can get it in file storages. Also, this means that whenever we are changing any file, okay, then the entire file is being overwritten because it is storing the data in the form of objects, right? So if you modify anything into that object, then rather than individual block or character within a file to be modified, the entire object would be overwritten over here. So that can be a costly affair again, right? So that's why Amazon EFS and FSX are ideal for this particular task. So now comes the question that what is EFS? So EFS is nothing but the elastic file system, which is scalable and flexible solution for Linux-based workloads. Okay, so at any time if you want to work with Linux-based workloads, because the protocol of the file system would be varying in Windows and Linux, we know that, right? So that's why EFX is good for Linux-based workloads, and you can use it on AWS cloud services or even with your on-premises resources for creating a file system that can be mounted on your EC2 instances. So once you have mounted your file system, you can read and write the data to and from it. And this can be shared amongst multiple EC2 instances. Correct. Now this is generally called as set and forget thing. Why? Because this again is a serverless option that we have. It will grow and shrink according to the data that we are storing on it. So you do not have to define the capacity for EFS. It will automatically grow and shrink. So to mount EFS file system, we have to use the NFS version either 4 or 4.1. This is the protocol that is being used, that is network file system. So this will easily allow you to access the file system from your VPC without needing to take any additional steps for expanding your file system because it is set and forget. So that's why we have already discussed that this is highly scalable and elastic. It can be easily mounted and it can be shared among multiple EC2 instances for Linux-based workloads. So if you want to have a pictorial look, then this is how it would look like. So suppose we have VPC, we have multiple availability zones inside of it. Inside of AZ, we do create our subnets, right? So this is my private subnet, this is my public subnet. I have multiple EC2 instances in my subnets, right? And I have attached this into the mount target. Okay, so we have to mount the EC2 instances on the mount target, which again will be giving us the access to the underlying file system that we would have created. So this is how it would actually look like. We'll also see one demonstration on the portal as well for better understanding, right? So what are the benefits? So we have already discussed that it is set and forget, means it can scale up and down automatically as the data that we are storing on it increases or decreases. So because of that, it will lower the total cost of ownership. Also here you get the option of standard as well as standard and frequent. Just like we had the storage classes into S3, right? So the same thing, we get it over here as well. So if you want to lower down your cost and you think that your data would be infrequently accessed, then you can just have the standard infrequent access for EFS for lowering down the cost. Right. Now, the next topic is Amazon FSx. So what is FSx? So it is nothing but it allows you to quickly and easily deploy and operate high performance file systems. So we were having EFS for Linux based workloads, but what if I want to have, different file systems? What if I have different file systems and I want one file storage for that? So FSx offers 4 different file system support over here. So you can choose the file system that will suit your need. And this allows you to quickly launch and run file systems with highly performant and feature rich. And it is serverless, so the management would also be, the management complexity or the overhead would also be reducing over here. So we have FSx for Windows Server, we have FSx for Lustre, for NetApp ONTAP, and FSx for OpenZFS. So when we talk about FSx for Windows, it is, as the name suggests, for the Windows file servers. So when you're launching the EC2 instances on, Windows operating system, you might be using this FSx. So it is built on Windows Server and it offers range of administrative features like data duplication, end user file restore, integration with Active Directory as well. So Windows-based file system, if you want to manage Windows-based file system on cloud, then Amazon FSx is a good choice. Apart from that, if you want high performance and cost-effective storage for your workloads, then you can go with Lustre because it offers you with a good computing power. And it supports most AMIs like Linux, Linux 2, Red Hat, CentOS, SUSE, Ubuntu, right? All of these AMIs or operating systems are being supported by FSx Lustre. So whenever you think about high performance computing, that is HPC or financial simulation, machine learning, which are, compute intensive processes, then you can go with FSx Lustre. Then we have FSx for NetApp ONTAP. So this service is built popularly on NetApp ONTAP data access and management system. So again, here also set and forget thing advantage you can take and you can just have those capabilities in the cloud. So the question arises in our mind that what is NetApp ONTAP, right? So NetApp ONTAP is a data management software platform that provides unified storage, data protection, and data management capabilities. So ONTAP can be installed on NetApp storage hardware or run as a virtual machine on a variety of hardware platforms. So if you don't want to have these complex management, then you can just have Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP. The last variant for FSx that we have is OpenZFS. So it is again fully managed service that will provide shared file solution based on OpenZFS file system. So it again is one type of file system which is powered by, and this service basically is powered by Graviton family of processors that are basically providing us with a high performance and efficiency. So you can again use the NFS protocol over here, and the versions which are being supported here are version 3, 4, 4.1 and 4.2. So OpenZFS is one advanced file system and volume manager that was created as a fork of ZFS file system. It is open source project and it is available for variety of operating system like Linux, FreeBSD and Mac OS. Right. So these are the different option or say variants of FSX that we can have on AWS.